And in our first story, Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yusuf Sulemana, has admitted that government is facing difficulties prosecuting more than 1,000 illegal miners arrested in recent operations. Mr. Sulemana explains that many of those arrested were handed over to the immigration and security agencies, but a proper system to track and prosecute them has not been fully established. As a result, most of the suspects have not yet been processed for court. He spoke on Newsnight.
I think it's one of our challenges. Over 1,000 people have been arrested, but the process of taking them through the court system has been very, very slow. And so we also holding meetings with the Attorney General to ensure that there's some speed with the process of getting them go through the legal process.
That then brings in the point of a state of emergency, which a lot of civil society organizations, which Senor Hosi, who is also on the line, have been calling for.
Is it a suggestion that if we don't put in place a state of emergency, we cannot set up a court system that can fast track the process? Is that a suggestion?
That's not the suggestion, but the suggestion from the CESOs is that under state of emergency, everything, including arrests and prosecutions, are very quick.
Yes, even before you do that, some discussions should have taken place. And so, at this moment, those who have arrested will not be able to even prosecute them. And let's, put in place a system that can ensure a expeditious processing of these people, and then we take it to the next stage.
Well, joining us on this conversation is Senor Hosi's convener for One Ghana Movement. Also joining us is the Dean of Faculty of Arts at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Kwabena Safo Kantanka. He's rallying the support of worker unions to push government to take a decisive action on illegal mining. Welcome, gentlemen, to our desk.
Thank you very much.
Great. Let me start with you, Senor Hosi. With this minister admitting that there are issues with prosecution, does this confirm the fear that the fight against illegal mining may just be rhetoric and really not the political will to ensure that this is kept?
What is obvious is that the government is clearly struggling with the political will. These are governments with key government officers and ministers suggesting that this could be solved in a week. I mean, it may not have been literal, but the truth of the matter is that we definitely expected to see better action on the part of government. Government said that they were going to go after kingpins. Show me one kingpin that has been arrested. They talked about giving amnesty to one. So the 1,400 that we are talking about, are they kingpins? That's a question we need to ask. The minister yesterday in that interview, an interesting comment, asking the question whether you are suggesting that without a state of emergency, they cannot have solutions to fast track the process. I think he should ask himself that question. And it's very simple. You've had 8 months. You are very much aware of the danger of this entire situation. And that minister in particular, to be honest, has been very hardworking. All right? But as a politician, he has to defend his government in some form. The truth is, why didn't you use these 8 months to build a certain legal framework without state of emergency to be able to achieve and resolve the issue of prosecution? Has that been done? Absolutely not. Did we go or did we come? Our turbidity levels right now are about 95,000. When we had 14,000, we all screamed last year. We called the former president, the worst president, to have pretended such a matter. Today, what are we going to say? Our food is poisoned. Our pharmaceuticals are complaining. Our energy infrastructure is endangered. How do you explain this? What language is required to really make sense to anybody again? Frankly, it is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that there's even an attempt to really debate this matter. We should be apologizing and showing strong action. Where we are our window for reversing what we have done is narrowing. This entire system is engulfing and seizing our entire politics. It is engulfing and seizing our security infrastructure. I tell you.
What does this mean for the rule of law now? I mean, crimes are committed every day. The argument is that they're still being prosecuted. Some of them are facing the law. But in this situation, the minister is saying they're having difficulties because of the weak structural systems. How else should these suspects or these those arrested be treated now moving forward? And even talk of the interagency, collaboration in the fight.
You know what those 1,400 people are? That's the first question. Because you can't be holding 1,400 people just like that under the current legal framework. Absolutely not. The idea is to allow government to be ruthless. And in the pact that His Excellency the President signed with us as a Ghana coalition against Galamsey was simple. Ruthless was the word we all used. And we co-signed it. She's a ruthlessness. I say, show me the kingpin. The kingpin are members of his government. The kingpin are members of his party. The kingpins are members of the former government. The kingpins are members were part of the executive of the former government. The kingpins are businessmen who have funded the politics left and right. Please show me one kingpin who has been arrested. And these are the words of His Excellency the President. Mr. President, we can't keep talking. It's time for true action. PR governance is over on this matter. What is at stake is dire. This is not crime in everyday life. This is an existential crisis. It's a crisis that can wipe us off the map as human beings, as Ghanaians. We can't be having this conversation this way.
Do you think that these kingpins that you talk about are being shielded?
Absolutely. The kingpins funded the election. They are sitting, they are members of the Council of State, if people will be honest. They are members in Parliament. They are members in the executive. I'm telling you, cabinet ministers are working against cabinet ministers in this particular matter. The president is aware. If the president is honestly not aware, Mr. President, you have to look at the people you have around you. Because presidency is one of the longest jobs I have come to see. And I've experienced it because I've had to engage different presidents. In all honesty, people try to control what you hear. And that's why we come to the media and we shout. Somehow he must hear it. His own ministers are working against other ministers in this particular fight. I repeat, in that cabinet, Amabua and Buama were the two people we really could swear our lives by. And we knew we had challenges with the others. Mr. President, what are you doing? Yesterday, listen to what the minister said. He talked about the Ministry of Interior, and he was deferring everything in there. Does it make sense to you that people have destroyed the environment? These people keep resources in this country. We did not talk of how to actually, confiscate the assets that they have, the money that they have, send their embassies a bill, make sure we collect the money. We're just talking about how to get them out of this country. And I even wonder how many people have truly left. And if we have not even ended up creating a rent-seeking structure through it, we don't know. You people have destroyed your place, and you were in a hurry to find a way to get them away when they are caught. I think Muntaka should come back again in his entire conduct in this matter. His name is coming up too much. Honorable Muntaka, your name is coming up too much. Obviously, your conduct is not helping this cause. And Mr. President must take a position on his office. He must take the office. And you see, John Mahama should not be lured into behaving the way Nanado behaved. And that is what we are beginning to see. Too much inertia. Your problem as a government, and the biggest decision you always make is the people decision. So if after 8 months you are making so little progress, that stability has moved from 14,000, it has actually moved all the way to 94,000. So Mr. President, in 1 year, your government has superintended the addition of how much? Nobody has seen that in the history. I, as president, would never have that peace. And I don't think that Mahama, as I know him, look, Mahama is a very, very nice man. And Mr. President, it's not time to be nice to everybody. There's only one person to be nice to, it's Ghana. There's so much at stake, and it's your legacy, it's your reputation, it's your future, it's the name of your family that is on the table. Nobody else, not NDC. This matter is not NDC, it's not NPP. It is you, Mr. President, and Mr. President must take action. Action. That's what we ask for the state of emergency. Besides state of emergency, we expect some major changes in government. Knock the whip, and everybody knows that it's no more business as usual.
When you talk about change of government, I mean, changes in Mohammed's government, what do you mean? Which changes in which aspects?
That's what I meant. Yes.
Yes. What kind of changes are you looking at?
It's the people changes. Are you getting the right reaction from the Interior Ministry? Yesterday we heard it clearly. No. Show me why there's been no prosecution of any of the former Minerals Commission executives who are said to have granted licenses without proper regulation. Who? Show me who. One. EPA. Those who allowed people to go and mine at the place. Those who watched on when those things were happening. Who has been held responsible? This government is nurturing impunity, just the way Nanado's government nurtured impunity in this matter. Look at the pictures. This is a village. Look at the water that they are going to drink.
Very terrible. Terrible there.
The chief, I'll tell you something. The chief in that village, stupidly, with all due respect, thinks that he can buy bottled water, so he has rather arrived. He doesn't realize that it is water. And the cleanliness of this water is rather reflecting on his ability to manage the nature and the assets he's been graced with. This is the mentality we have.
Senor, I'll come back to you shortly. Also joining us, the Dean of Faculty of Arts at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Kwabena Safo Kantanka, and he is rallying the support of worker unions to support government to take a decisive action on this. Prof, I understand you've already released a statement rallying other labor unions to join you in a demonstration. Particularly, when are you going on this demonstration?
Well, thank you very much. Let me point to thank. I like enthusiasm, and thank you also to the Ghana Coalition Against Pay. I believe everybody now appreciates that the calls have been loud, the appeals have been loud, but we have not received any response. Anyway, it is not, we are not going on a demonstration. We are a group concerned about what is happening, and we have written a petition to all workers' unions in Ghana, and I believe that maybe after this conversation, we can have a copy of what the petition that we have, so that they can take to that. We have written a petition to all the workers' unions in Ghana, including the QC, the mother union. We have the Ghana Federation of Labor, Ghana Mines Workers Union, Ghana Health Workers Union, Teachers and the Network Union, Ghana Cultural Union, the Education Workers Union, Teachers Workers Union of Industry, Commerce and Finance, Timber, Woodwork Union, University Teachers Association of Ghana, Technical University Association of Ghana, Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. That we must take an industrial line to compel the government to take action against Galamsey. In other words, we would like all workers' unions to lay down their tools until we see a decisive action against Galamsey.
So,
in other words,
when you talk about the decisive action, you've listed a number of things. I mean, inclusive of the state of emergency. Aside from that, what else are you also seeking government to do about the situation?
If you look at the petition that we have written, we made 15 demands. Number one is the declaration of state of emergency, which has already been said loudly. revocation of LI 2462, immediate and complete ban on all small-scale mining activities, anti-corruption and public accountability, number 5, criminal enforcement and asset forfeiture. We talk about ban on importation of excavators and heavy mining equipment. We talk about a ban on mercury and toxic chemicals, environmental grants for fast-track environmental for land, water, restoration, license, audit, and transparency. We talk about food safety and testing. We talk about community protection and livelihoods. And then we talk about independent oversight and then international cooperation. You agree with me, and it is said, and I quote Professor Frimpong Boateng, that Ghana is the only country in the whole wide world with river bodies without use. I mean, we've reached a level of absurdity. And one wonders, excuse my expression, whether we Ghanaians are really human beings. Because it doesn't make sense. It is so difficult to understand. The calls have been since 2013. Several groups have made calls. If the politicians, our leaders are not listening, what then do we have to do? We have only one tool to lay down our tools. All workers of Ghana. If tomorrow all workers say that we are not going to go to work until we see a decisive action against Galamsey, I believe the government of Ghana will be forced to act. So that is what we are calling for. We are not going to go on demonstration. We are calling on TUC and its members to lay down their tools as workers of this country so that the government of Ghana will take action. And if you see the petition, as I've enumerated, you see all that we are asking for. And exactly that is the kind of tool we can use, because there is nothing, the rationalization has been too much.
Right, so Prof,
you've
made this.
And we leave the problem.
Right. So I understand you've reached out to these other labor unions. Have you had any response from them? And exactly when are you waiting to go on this demonstration, at least, for us to see some action?
Well, I have sent an email copy to all the unions that I mentioned. I've not received a response. I was supposed to post the hard copies 2 days ago, but I had an emergency, so I couldn't go it. In fact, I'm on my way to Doma. When I return on Monday, I'll post the hard copies to all the labor unions. But as I speak with you, the email copies have reached the labor union, but they have not responded. I find it quite intriguing and very difficult to do, but I'm giving them time. I don't know what they may have received. They may have seen it. I'm giving them time up to next week. If I receive any response, I'll let you know. Now, I'm happy that Joy has called and asked about this petition. I believe that Joy and other in Ghana, other media houses will be part of this call for the TUC and its members to call for a strike action against Galamsey in Ghana. So that if it takes 1 month and workers are not going to work and we receive a positive response from the government of Ghana, why not?
Right, thank you.
So that is the call. It is a petition for an industrial action to put pressure on the government to act decisively.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Professor Kwabena Safo-Kantanka, for that. Let me go back to Senor Jose briefly for his comments. And Senor, I mean, you've talked about the lack of political will, but also there's the argument that we have to compel government to take action. You think a demonstration is enough to force government's hand in this situation?
As citizens, our social tools are limited. One of them is definitely social action, which may include a demonstration. I don't think just going and walking on the street. I don't think we should do any walk. And the source of the problem and the answer to the problem is sitting at only one place. His Excellency the President. He's the one with the absolute power. He's the one in whom our boundaries, our land, our natural resources is vested in. So we just go to God in this matter. We should go and sit at Flagstaff House. We should all go and sit there till our Father would wake up and take the action that will save us, including himself and his own children and children's children. We expected an old father of us who was older, who we thought we didn't do not, and he didn't do it. So if a younger father has come, then and he will not do it, then we're almost doomed. We can't wait for 4 years to determine what we want to do about the current situation. We can't wait. We'll be gone.
So, Senor,
in less than 1 year, my brother, my sister, in 1 year, we have moved from a high turbidity of 14,000 to 94,800. Hey, 80,000 all of a sudden. Prior to that, from 2016, we were at 20 and 30 in that particular place. It took us almost 8 years to get to 14,000. But in 1 year, we have added 80,000. I beg you, the exponential rate at which we are getting this in deteriorating is extremely dire. And we are getting to the point of irreversibility.
So, Senor, we've heard a lot about what you're saying, but now, could you at least put some word to it that we're going to take this action? You talked about going to Flagstaff House, Jubilee House, and sitting there.
I can see sticker on the line. We are going to invite the MPs. We are going to invite the Speaker. We are going to invite Labour. We are going to invite the professional bodies, everybody in one coalition. And that will happen maybe sometime next week. Into one meeting. The Islamic community, the Christian community, everybody, let's sit down and we agree on that way forward.
All right. Thank you so much.
We'll give everybody a state of affairs, including the NBC themselves. I've told you, as an NBC, as a party, must defend the cause of the country, irrespective of which government is there. And the same thing with the NPP people. We should come and play politics with this because all of them have failed us.
Right.
So right now, we have to come together as one unit, as one country, as one people. Let's save Ghana for our children and children's children.
Thank you so much, Senor Jose, for your time on our desk, and Senor Jose is convener for the One Ghana movement, speaking on Galamsey. Well, away from that, the World Bank has dismissed the Akufo-Addo government's long-standing claim that Ghana's 2022 economic collapse was driven by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. In its latest policy report, the bank states that the crisis stemmed from deep-rooted structural weaknesses, fiscal indiscipline and mismanagement, with global shocks merely exposing an already fragile economy. Well, these details have been put up in graphics. We'll bring you that later on. But let's also, that is showing on your screen right now. We'll just go through a few of them. And it says that the deterioration of global conditions due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian Federation invasion of Ukraine was not the cause of the 2022 macroeconomic crisis. Next slide. All right, so we'll do that later, but we have on the line the former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Stephen Amoah, on this. Dr. Amoah, we're grateful, and this is what the World Bank is saying now. What's your initial reaction? Let me get that first. Kindly unmute and speak to us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. My regards to our listeners this very morning. Honestly, I would like to have the entire document and then read it and understand the context being posted out there, because I'll be surprised for two reasons. One, the World Bank, before this report, we had a report there. I need to look for it. I mean, I'm not even home now. That stated clearly that the causes, they never said, and nobody has ever said, what we went through 2022 is solely 100% the COVID. Nobody said that. But the severity and the challenges we went through, nobody on this earth, unless the person, in my opinion, is just displaying ego trips or unconscious incompetence. Because the same World Bank report stated that was one of the major crises we all in this country. Aside that, what were these economic indicators, these primary macro indicators or performances in the other jurisdictions, even in the developed economies? That year, the world economy grew negative 3.3. Inflation rate globally jumped into 100. They're all there, and we depend on these economies. I'm sure the documents might have said, apart from that, we have structural weaknesses and issues as a country, and that one is a fact. It's not just one routine. When it comes to economic resilience, most developing economies, including Ghana, fundamentally we have challenges because we depend on the economy. We are basically import-driven economy. So these things are there. We talk about in effective way, sometimes we manage our expenses as a country. These are issues that occur. I mean, it doesn't matter who is in government. The facts are there. So if the first 3 years of Akufo-Addo's government were growing to 7%, one of the best in the world, inflation rate averagely has stayed about 7%, one of the best in the world. And then we have even picked, GDP growth in the year 2000, about, I think it was 3.4%. And we're rolling out one of the most enviable pro-poor policies sustainably in our country. Who could have thought that after the first term of the Akufo-Addo's government, where there was market productivity impairment, people were even asked to stay home, they were paid. We're in this country. Private sector sacked over 40,000. We had revenue shortfall of about between 11 and 12 billion. The world itself knew how we're suffering. Things were being brought from outside that were costing us $4,000, moved to $12,000. I used to import things from my farmers in this country. Some of the items that were costing me 1999 pounds, before God we serve, some of them were costing me 29.99, 10 pounds different. Conversion would have been that time around 200 Ghana cedis. So they can say whatever, if that is true. I think it's been taken out of context. Because the World Bank, I used to be in a number of series of meetings with the same World Bank. I'll be surprised. I know most of their leaders, for them to say, but if they say that maybe our structures were weak, yes. We have issues as a country, yes. We all accept. And I've been saying this almost 10 years now, not because I'm in opposition. That as a country, remember, I use the word our economy has chronic issues. And I actually like that, or I did just liken to something in this country that I had to write and apologize on your own sake. What we are saying is that structurally we have issues as a country, not necessarily a country that we are running.
Well, so Sticker, are you saying that the World Bank's report is inaccurate, or they are not reporting inaccurate?
Respectfully, I haven't said that.
I'm asking because that's what they're saying.
No.
Initially.
No, I am saying that I need the entire report because I'm surprised.
Okay.
Because the same World Bank came out, unless your outfit, you've forgotten, that they came out and attributed the severity and the challenges of our economy to the global crisis, which was twofold, i.e. Russia-Ukraine war, and then more profoundly, the COVID. And I'm saying that before the COVID, what was our economic situation? 2022, what was the global economic performance? What was the performance of the global economy? And I've told you that 2022, thereabout, the world was growing negative 3.3. So does it mean that the world's global economic structures were not good? The inflation rate moved averagely into the hundreds. Does it mean that, and we depend on these economies? So I would be very much surprised for anybody to pick just this extract or present this picture. It means that the World Bank is telling us two stories, which is which? We are in this country, and two, you yourself as an indigenous person in this country, which I trust all of you very well, from the media which you have, is one of the reputable stations in Africa. Let me ask you, if you have a country that people were asked to stay home but they were paid for months, and even after that they run shift, 50% will go 2 weeks, another 50% will go 2 weeks for almost 19 months. When private sector sacked about 40,000 people. And then you are saying that COVID wasn't part. Between us and the God we serve, let us all analyze these things. Accept those who do not understand. In any case, before people the government...
Would you also admit that in that situation, you may have made...
Respectfully, can I learn with this?
Right.
And respectfully, I want Joy FM to go for the first budget statement that my own brother, Dr. Akufo-Addo, respectfully presented in Parliament, and then go and analyze all the relevant macroeconomic indicators of this country before we left power. GDP was growing over 6%. Primary balance had outperformed 2016. The inflation rate that went to even 54.1 because of the crisis had come down to about 20. Research had been performing even better than 2020. That was last quarter 2024. So please, economy is not just any other thing that people can say anything. There are figures. We have the data to support these things. But of course, I think World Bank statement is not what it is now. It's taken out of context. Or maybe we need to read the entire thing, and then we need to get the World Bank involved again. And I'll bring what they themselves said in most of our meetings and what they are saying today.
But would you say that within that period, you may have not taken the bull by the horns to take certain decisions such that you couldn't have resulted in this? For instance, the public debt rose from 63% in 2019 to about 93% in 2022. Would you say that is also as a result of the COVID and then the Russia-Ukraine war and not really policy decisions?
Thank you. Allow me to explain this perfectly. The basis, first, that has to be established is that Ghana's economy, there was a time I used ritual and people who did not understand that vocabulary in that context were even insulting me. I wanted to say characteristically, we are running what I term negative effective tax rate economy, whether COVID or no COVID. What it means is that whether NDC or MPP's government, the monies we outlay, we expend every year, if we divide the amount by the houses we have, households in Ghana, and each house gets 10,000 Ghana cedis. The amount we generate the same year, excluding loans, if we divide, it will be like 5 cedis. So already we are running ritual deficit as a country, which is very bad. That basically is there. 2, the COVID came up, and when it came up, we ran short of revenue generation about 12 billion Ghana cedis. This is a fact. And even private sector sacked over 40,000 people. Corporate taxes, everything went down. Everywhere in the world, 2 main ways a government gets money: either loans, debt financing, or revenue generation domestically. So when the domestic market, as much as the world market, went so bad, we're not getting raising revenue domestically. We only had to rely on debt financing. Already we're borrowing. And then because GDP was not growing and wasn't our fault, we grew 0.4 that year, if you remember, and the world grew -3. But we're spending using debt financing. Your debt to GDP will go up. So it's not like it was a palatable situation, but it wasn't something you could have blamed the government. That's not what we are saying.
Could you have made other decisions, other prudent decisions to avoid this debt going up?
Let me tell you, you know that we have war times and we have peace time. When we're dying and Ghanaians were putting pressure on the government to bring me, I'm not a clinical person. And we're making a lot of decisions out of, I would say, in my opinion, we couldn't have sat down to go through decision-making processes. All that we wanted to do was to prevent fatalities. And Ghana was actually said to have been one of the best countries that our fatalities were not that much. My condolence to people that we lost. That one is like we were dying, convulsion. What did we have to do? So some of the decisions might not even go or echo, well, yes, I agree. But that situation wasn't the time that we could have gone through a lot of alternatives and made the right decision. People were dying. Now, everybody has forgotten the fact that Akufo-Addo's government made it possible for us as a country exclusively to reduce our fatalities, number of people who died. And now we are going back to say that we made this decision, we made that decision, fine, no problem. But it's a lesson to all of us. But what I can say is that before we left power, go and take where we left the economy. I beg you, it's very important. Just go and pick Akufo's own budget statement and compare the economy at that time to the economy we even inherited 2016 when that situation wasn't there. So that period that came had a strong correlation with the COVID. Of course, as a country, it doesn't mean the government will never made any mistake. It doesn't mean that structurally, fundamentally, we're having a look. Our economy has a lot of issues. One day, I want to sit down with you for almost 1 hour. You understand me? A country that government can borrow on a domestic market, whether NDC at a higher rate than the private sector. We have so many things that we need to work on as a country. Yet I agree. The way we spend our priorities, we are not getting enough taxes. If MPP, they are in government, they are bringing taxes. NDC and Ghanaians will say no. When NDC guys are bringing taxes, Ghanaians and MPP will say no. I think this is the time that all of us, or it is time we all came together and said that enough of MPP, NDC, political positions and statements. These are common issues. How best can we, nationally or nationalistically handle these situations and wean ourselves from this whole economic whatever dependence and we are always being tossed here and there? No. We need to be economically independent. We need to build the needed resilience as a country. Other than that, we always go to IMF and the World Bank, and some of these statements will be made good when one is in power. They will be made bad when they are in opposition, and then Ghanaians will click on that. But what I'm saying is that COVID-Russian war practically had a very tremendous amount of impact adversely on our economy. And domestically, there's evidence. Globally, there's evidence. Was it only Ghana in the world that suffered? No. So what are they talking about? No.
All right, Dr. Stovinama.
Please, I want the IMF to tell us 2022 what was the economic global situation.
But we're dealing with our own country, and we are suffering for it now, aren't we? But thank you very much for your time on our desk.
But other countries are suffering.
We're grateful, Dr. Amoah, for that. And like you said, at an appropriate forum, we'll have a lengthy discussion on this. Now, moving on, the Ministry of Education says it has begun investigations into allegations of bribery in the placement of BEC candidates to senior high school. Now, a statement signed by Deputy Minister Dr. Clement Apak reads, and we'll bring you that on the screen shortly, about the situation that the minister is talking about. You're still watching JoyNews Desk with me, Mamiesi Nyameche Thompson. We'll bring you that statement shortly. Notice of a widely circulated social media post attributed to one Gertrude Adjo Baklo, alleging that placement into a Brigel Senior High School costs 15,000 cedis. This claim, unfortunately, appears to feed into a conspirational narrative to create the false impression that the Basic Education Certificate Examination computerized school placement system is for sale. The ministry views this allegation with the utmost seriousness and has initiated an immediate investigation into the matter. However, attempts to reach the author of the original post have proven unsuccessful, as her account messenger was deactivated shortly after the publication. The ministry has further observed that other individuals using anonymous or ghost accounts are amplifying similar falsehoods. In response, the ministry is collaborating closely with National Security, the Cyber Security Authority, and other agencies to track down these people to assist in investigating this matter, and says the Ministry of Education wishes to state categorically that the BEC computerized school placement system is entirely free of charge. At no point is payment required to access this service. We call on members of the public to provide any information or evidence of persons, whether ministry officials or third parties, who demand money for placements. The ministry assures swift and decisive action against any individual found culpable. And they put there some contact lines that any incident can be reported to. And that's signed by Dr. Clement Apak. Moving on, young people are being urged to push for a voice in national decision-making as part of efforts to achieve the United Nations 2030 agenda. The call was first made at the Changemakers Conference organized by Empowerment Through Education. More in this report.
Organized by Empowerment Through Education, focused on promoting quality education and empowering young people to discover their purpose and drive the UN's 2030 agenda. Convener and lead volunteer Andy Opondenchi said the goals are achievable if young people are given a seat at the table.
The youth to be at the table. If there is a reason or there is a problem that the youth are facing, and I can cite an example of drug abuse and young people abusing drugs and all that, it's a problem. And if this is a problem, then there is a need for a youth to be at the table of grown-ups, of leaders, to think about these issues and know how best these problems are affecting the youth so that they can also share their ideas and find solutions to it.
Speakers highlighted youth empowerment, inclusion and resilience in pursuing dreams. 2024 GJA Journalist of the Year, Beatrice Senaju-Boateng, described the conference as impactful and urged young people to be the change they want to see.
Interview people, and now you are telling the stories of your communities. Now you see young people dancing and twerking on the internet, forgetting that they are doing a harm or a great disservice to themselves and their future. Now you can use your phone to change the world.
Also speaking at the event, a seasoned educator, Christiana Ashite, stressed the need to create spaces for young people to lead and be heard, adding that the youth must remain hungry for their future.
The children of today are not utilizing the opportunity that has been given to them. Even though the education is free, they are not making any impact to the world or even to their community and themselves with the education that they are being given free. So this conference is a call out to all of them that something is being given to them, so they must use it very well.
The conference ended with a call to action for young people to discover their purpose, launch SDG-driven initiatives, and actively contribute to sustainable development.
This is JoyNews Desk. We take a break. We return with more.
Many thanks for staying with us. This is still JoyNews Desk. It's time for business. I am Michelle Lejekum. Now, the Microcredit Association Ghana has held its 16th annual general meeting under the theme Beyond Profit, Strengthening Microcredit Institutions Through ESG Principles. The event brought together regulators, policymakers, academics, and practitioners to discuss how environmental, social, and governance principles can secure the future of Ghana's microcredit sector despite economic headwinds. Women accounted for the majority of new clients and borrowers, reflecting the sector's mission of empowering the underserved. Here is a report by Inathalia Konsa.
It continues to be a lifeline for households, micro and small enterprises, and vulnerable communities across Ghana. At a section at the association's sustained general meeting, Executive Director Ebenezer Korte has urged government to establish a dedicated fund that will provide affordable capital for on-lending. He explained the intervention as critical to scaling financial inclusion.
Given the highly informal nature of our economy, microcredit will continue to serve as the lifeline for households, MSMEs, and communities. It is therefore imperative that development partners, regulators, policymakers, and the media, and all stakeholders rally to support our mission of using microcredit as a tool for positive transformation. The future of microcredit members is digital.
Representing the Finance Minister, Wade Adeto, underscored the government's commitment to strengthening the financial inclusion agenda.
The government remains committed to ensuring that we are supported by a sound and enabling policy environment. In pursuit of this vision, government has set out clear commitments for the financial sector. These include enhancing the regulatory frameworks for the microfinance industry to improve supervision and a more resilient financial system.
The Bank of Ghana also pledged its support, head of Other Financial Institution Supervision, Desmond Agboga, announced plans for a sustainable banking framework.
Bank of Ghana is currently developing a framework for sustainable banking principles tailored for microfinance institutions. This initiative seeks to guide MFIs in embedding ESG considerations into their operations, lending practices, and risk management framework.
Now, the Food and Agriculture Minister has directed the National Food Buffet Stock Company to purchase grain surpluses from farmers as it anticipates bumper grain harvest for the 2025 season. It follows a report on some maize farmers in Idra lamenting how low sales despite a bumper harvest. The Chamber of Agribusiness also reported at least 10,000 tons of grains on the brink of waste. Before the details of the statements from the Agriculture Ministry, here is a special report by my colleague Emmanuel Bright-Kweku highlighting how farmers in Idra have been discouraged from growing maize next season due to the poor sales and delayed rains.
It's Monday morning at Idra, one of Ghana's largest trading hubs for cereals and grains. From groundnut and beans to rice and maize, the market supplies thousands of households across Ghana and beyond. But in recent times, maize has seen a sharp decline in sales. The fresh maize sells at 500 cedis, and the old ones go for 450. These new prices, coupled with a reclining market sale, are presenting challenges to the maize value chain. The farmers and traders are not enthused as they are seen all over haggling the new prices. Farming is a lifeline of Idra and its surrounding communities. On a scorching afternoon, Idrisu Mumuni and his family are busy drying freshly harvested maize. They spread the grains across a tarpaulin, relying on sun and air to reduce the moisture content. With no storage facilities, the family must rush to package and sell the maize on the next market day. But for Idrisu, the returns hardly match the efforts he invests in production.
Now, here's a statement from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. It says the National Buffet Stock Company to purchase surplus grains from farmers. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture anticipates a buffer grain harvest in the 2025 season alongside unsold carryover stocks from the 2024 harvest. To address the issue of a likely glut situation, government has, for the first time since the establishment of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, provided significant resources to enable NAFCO to purchase surplus produce for storage. This intervention will not only reduce post-harvest losses but also guarantee the availability of food reserves to cushion the nation against future shortages and emergencies. The ministry therefore urges all farmers to remain calm and confident as NAFCO will actively be in the market to purchase their grains and mitigate any adverse effects of excess grains. The general public is assured that MOFA, working with all relevant agencies and stakeholders, is fully engaged in ensuring that every grain produced by Ghanaian farmers finds a suitable and profitable market. And that'll be it for business. I am Michelle Ejekum. For more business news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. We'll be right back.